You're tuned in to Get Right Fantasy.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, friends? Daniel Dopp here from the Fantasy Focused Football Podcast over on ESPN.
It's Fabs here, Michael Fabiano from Sports Illustrated.
You know who you can trust if you've got some questions about your fantasy squad?
Want to check out a cool show on YouTube that'll help you get ready for the fantasy football season?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network. If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Head on over to YouTube. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network because they're doing everything they can to make you a better fantasy player.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You're tuned in to Get Right Fantasy.
Ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between or outside of it, welcome to Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan, right here on the Get Right Fantasy Network, coming to you every Monday evening until week 1 of the NFL season. I am your host, Evan Sather. Tonight, my guest is positively unique in the fantasy football community. We were teammates back when we did live show content for another company. Please welcome to the show, Jeff Crisp. Jeff, great to see you again. Great to have you back on live stream together. It's been quite a little while. How have you been, my friend?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Evan, it's great to see you, and thank you very much for having me on your show and participating in this mock draft. I've been doing well, been very busy as we talked offline, and I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit of that later on. But yeah, glad to be here, and interesting to see how this 8-team mock goes.
Yeah, I remember you were mentioning before we were going live that you can't remember the last time you did an 8-team league, where the only 8-team league I'm in with this particular format is not a Dynasty league, but we also wanted to give some love to the 8-team leagues out there, being that they do exist. They may not be as common as 12 or maybe even 10, but sometimes smaller leagues make it more fun. Everybody's teams is they're a little more stacked, but Jeff, I don't know if you agree with me on this. It's the strategy is roughly the same, even with stacked teams, because your guys still got to outscore the other team's guys. Am I right?
Well, every team is stacked in an 8-teamer like this, especially if you're going 20 players deep in a roster. A lot of times when I have smaller number of teams, I usually expand the rosters and the starting lineups to kind of accommodate. But like you said, hey, it's a equal playing field. Everybody's got the same opportunity. So yes, you still have to compete regardless of how many teams, how many positions.
Absolutely. So we didn't technically do shows together at the old company, but you had a great Monday daytime show with another guy involving fantasy football talk, whether it's just, hot topics of the week on a Monday after we saw the Sunday games, and then you mixed it in with a unique IPA, a unique beer, as just as an appreciative, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm forgetting the word that I'm looking for. I'm sure it'll come to me later, but having a great appreciation for a good glass of liquor or a good bottle of liquor. So I'm not a drinker myself, but I'm sure everybody out there watching probably enjoys a good beer or so. But Jeff, what are you drinking lately? What would you recommend when now that we have Scott Fishbowl drafts coming up? I'm sure you've got a few things you like lately.
Well, right now, per doctor's orders, I am drinking water. That's very translucent water, and Diet Coke. I will find out hopefully sometime next week that I've been cleared to begin drinking again. Just my doctor running a bunch of tests, trying to figure out why some things are what they are. I'm feeling pretty good. It has nothing to do with beer, so I'm looking forward to diving back into that. But a little bit of a thing about the show. Yeah, that was actually on Fridays, Friday afternoons, and it was my friend Chris Pudge LePage. He's FF Pudge on X and Blue Sky, and he and I had a show that was phenomenal. We looked at things from a couple different angles. We weren't quite as analytical as other shows would be. We were more league centric and beer centric. So we kind of took a look at how things were with leagues, everything from league rules to league concepts and players and how they fit in there. We threw some analysis in there, but our show took a different angle. So when you were talking about unique, yeah, my angle to all of this was unique. I am not an analyst. I've said this before. I'm here because I love fantasy football, I love the camaraderie, and that's why I play, and that's why I commish a lot of leagues. And I'll leave the hyper analytics to you and to those who are much better suited for that content.
Yeah, and I think fantasy analyst has such a very hyper specific reputation out there in the industry, or if we can call it an industry, being that if you label yourself that, people might think, oh, you're into the numbers, you're into the analytics, you're into predictive modeling or predictive metrics, but there's just a lot more to it than just that. Sometimes you need that fresh observation viewpoint of like, what did you observe in this particular game that your Detroit Lions played, for example, whether it's an NFC North opponent or not. What are they doing with how fluid are they being with their offense with no more Ben Johnson? What's their game script look like lately? That might affect Jahmyr Gibbs' usage. Like, sometimes you need that, right? I mean, that's that. And if I remember correctly, that was kind of along the lines of what you and Pudge used to talk about on Fridays.
Oh, we definitely brought up some real NFL non-fantasy perspective on the league, especially Detroit Lions, as he and I are both diehard Lions fans. Actually, he and I met because of the Detroit Lions years ago. So, we would take a look at, how things were going, and not just the Detroit Lions, but we look at other teams. We were really looking at the Hendrickson thing in Cincinnati for a while and the impact that was going to have, a little while back. And so we would kind of talk about it from an NFL perspective as well. Sometimes we would then mix that in and bring it full circle back to fantasy. But we were never full numbers. We were looking more at how we would look at things as a fan, as fantasy enthusiasts. Again, that's what I am, a fantasy enthusiast, not a fantasy analyst. And that's kind of the content of our show. So I really miss doing that show with Pudge. He and I have talked about it ad nauseum recently. And maybe one day he and I will partner together again to bring you some of that great non-analytical content.
Yeah, I hope you once you get that going again, you'll definitely let me know, and I'll definitely let the Get Right community know where to check you guys out, because I really liked what you guys, like I said, I really like what you guys had going on Fridays, being that I thought it brought a unique spin to just fantasy shows, and then just closing out a Friday afternoon with a good beverage, which I'm sure a lot of folks in the comments would agree with. And I'm just glad you're taking good care of your health too, Jeff. We definitely love to see it. And speaking of which, like you mentioned the Diet Coke part, I love Diet Coke more than I should admit. Like, I'm not the type of guy to treat it like they're fridge cigarettes, like I'm having like 6, 7, 8, 9 a day, but still with lunch, like there's something so crisp about it that's so smooth. No pun intended to you.
Oh, I've heard them all. There's nothing you're going to tell me or say to me that I haven't heard. Diet Coke. I'm a big Diet Mountain Dew guy, but I don't drink as much soda as I used to. I've been drinking a lot more of it since I've stopped, since I've had to pause on the alcohol. The most interesting thing, I really thought, hey, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. I'm going to lose myself a little weight here. The exact opposite has happened. I have gained 13 pounds over the last 2 months because I don't know if it's because I'm not drinking beer. I'm stuffing my face. I don't know if it's the extra. I mean, everybody knows that diet soda isn't the best for you when it comes to weight management, but I don't know what it is. I just know I expected to lose weight. The exact opposite has happened.
We'll definitely dive into that more as let's go over the format that we got going here. So tonight we're going to be looking at filling these starting lineups: 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex spots, and then 10 bench spots. So a solid 10 and 10, 20 players total. So this should be pretty solid. You multiply that by 8. It's pretty well filled out compared to like the 10 or the 12 team leagues. I see you in the comments there, Junior Brown, so we're going to get moving on this here. Jeff, my man, are you ready?
I am.
Let's get this started as everybody's getting antsy for this to get going here. So we got Doc Watson starting us off. We have 30 seconds on the clock per pick, which should give us plenty of time here to get things going. So, these always start off with nothing too surprising, but being that it is a 2-quarterback league, here we go. We're starting to see quarterbacks going off the board. I should make my pick as well. So I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs, speaking of which, but... So, Jeff, going Bijan Robinson to start things off, there's no loss at 101 if you don't take a quarterback right away like you did at the 102, right?
No, in an 8-team league, I mean, obviously your quarterbacks are going to last a little longer. I probably shouldn't tell everybody that, but again, this is just a fun mock. But, going position player over quarterback is, makes sense. I mean, there will be solid quarterbacks remaining in later rounds in an 8-teamer. So I would certainly not. And again, if you're going to take somebody, Bijan is the person. Just glad it wasn't Brian. It was Bijan.
Yeah, I think the ADP is going to save a lot of people from accidentally taking Brian. I think it would take like a mass effort on Sleeper for enough people to overdraft Brian Robinson to completely troll all the August drafts that are going to happen in redraft leagues this coming summer. But I don't think there's enough unification to make that happen. So we're closing out the first round. Duarte 5656 takes Amon-Ra St. Brown, followed by Jonathan Taylor. Even if this was a bigger league in like a 10 or a 12 team league, that's a stack like you just... Not only is it possible to get that stack in a larger league, but how do you go wrong with that 1-2 when you want to build your team in a startup?
I mean, you don't. One of the top 3-4 wide receivers, top 5 running back. That's a solid start on the turn. Again, it's quite clear everybody is thinking the way that I was talking about was that, quarterbacks will be still there when they come back around. That one won't, but I'll get my quarterbacks out of the way and then pick up the scraps on in the position in the running back, wide receiver, tight end positions.
Yeah, so as this is coming back to you for the third round, Jeff, so you got your quarterbacks out of the way as you're making your next pick. We've got Doc Watson taking all running backs so far, and there goes Jeremiah Love, hoping he has a great landing spot. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers for Tennessee Titans, being that they have the biggest need. But you went Devon Achane here, so I know you said you don't do 8-team leagues, at least in recent years. If you were to do that, would this be a strategy that you're doing right now be the way you'd want to approach it, or would you think, well, maybe quarterbacks are not necessarily the thing you need to do right away?
I probably wouldn't have went quarterbacks, especially in the 2 position. Had I especially known that nobody else was going to take a quarterback, definitely could have waited. I would have expected to see maybe a couple more off, but so now I just have to find those solid tier 2 players to fill in the rest of my roster, and that's doable. Chase Lamb and Neighbors. Okay. Damn.
BroCal44 went 3 wide receivers, almost the antithesis to what Doc Watson did with 3 running backs in a row. Some guys, we got a smart crew that love to mock draft with us on Mondays and Fridays. Some of these guys are also not afraid to experiment too, where you want to see like what happens when you go all running backs or all wide receivers right away. Who can you get to go in later rounds? So, but I guess to me, Jeff, I prefer to just try to simulate this as best as possible, seeing what type of teams I can build off of ADP. That's often the only strategy I implement. Is now it's back to me here. Who do I go with so far? Screw it. Let's go Saquon here. Why not? We got the younger running back and the older running back. So I'm doing with a little variety in my picks, waiting on quarterback just like everybody else. And Jamie Perogue just went Lamar Jackson after 2 running backs. You just went Pickens. So honestly, like if you're gonna go with your first wide receiver, Jeff, Pickens seems like the guy you want to go get. George Pickens, I can't believe how great of a fit he is on the Dallas Cowboys. As you're making your 5th round pick here, you went Tedero McMillan. So Jeff, give me what you think about George Pickens here as he fits in with CeeDee Lamb. What does this Cowboys offense look like for going into 2026? I think I think we had Jeff freeze up here. I'm sure he'll be back momentarily. I got to make my next pick Oh, there you are, Jeff.
So I think Pickens, I think Dak Prescott, when healthy, is one of the best stat quarterbacks that are out there. And I think that both of these, CD and Pickens have the ability to put up big numbers. I do know they've had some problems both on the offensive line and defensive line. I don't remember everybody that the chess pieces that moved during the offseason, but I do know there were some issues there. So it's going to be interesting, but I still think healthy Dak means big numbers, and there's going to be enough of a share for Pickens to take.
Now that Dak Prescott is getting older, he's been a top 10 quarterback whenever he stays healthy, but then when he gets injured, people forget what an elite quarterback he is with the weapons that he's got. He doesn't necessarily need a flashy tight end and anything more than Jake Ferguson to get it done. He used to have Dalton Schultz before he split for the Houston Texans, but yeah, I mean, having Pickens alongside CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be great for a Dak Prescott for years to come. Dak is typically not drafted among all the top quarterbacks here. He's even below Fernando Mendoza. And so speaking of Mendoza, Jeff, it's been rumored that Clint Kubiak might wait to start him after signing Kirk Cousins for a discount after the Atlanta Falcons released him. If Mendoza sits for most of the season and you end up drafting him in a 2-quarterback league like this, are you mad because you were hoping to depend on him?
If you're taking him as one of your 2 starters, then yes. I don't know that, I take Mendoza quite that early in this because of that. But also someone else is going to take that chance and jump on him. So you have to kind of play that game. When's the right time to pull the trigger? I think Dak. I'm sorry. I think Mendoza is going to benefit from sitting. I think that's the biggest reason they went out and got Kirk, was to be able to bridge the quarterback play, get somebody who's going to be a little bit stable, regardless of how you feel about Cousins' play recently, but somebody who's going to be able to help transition, so you don't have to put all the pressure on Mendoza. I've spoken ad nauseum about the fact that I have to pick. Already I don't like any of this. Let's go Homer.
There you go.
I'll wait for a moment till I'm in a turn, but I think that is going to work out well for them, because again, I've said before, I don't like rushing players, and especially quarterbacks. I know that's the thing. Everybody expects short-term results. There's a very short-term thinking and amongst owners and fans. And quite frankly, that can be problematic when that's actually applied like that. Okay. I'm coming back to that. Oh, I forgot. Fast clock. Let's do that. I don't know who's going to throw to him, but we'll take him.
Well, we think it's Danny Dimes, but I guess that remains to be seen for Tyler Warren, being that it looks like the passing game is going to revolve around him for sure. I should probably take a quarterback at some point, but let's see how long I can go with that one. Let's do... I think we're going to go Travion here, just because I want the younger guy in a Dynasty startup. But I want to come back to you about... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to just comment on tight end real quick. The thing is, even with a tight end premium, once you get past some of the first tight tier of tight ends, there's really not a significant advantage necessarily. But in a simple 1 PPR or just a point, let me try that again, a PPR league, tight ends, once you get past 4 or 5, this might, you can kind of wait on them, at least from my opinion. But once again, I wouldn't say you should necessarily go with my opinion all the time. Beer, you want to talk beer? We can do that, but football players.
Yeah, but I really like your Tyler Warren pick too, and I wanted to back up to the 6th round where you took Jameson Williams. So I made a terrible mistake after Jameson Williams completed 2 seasons in my Dynasty League. I got him for a discount in the late 1st round when he was a rookie, but I ended up selling him to go get Nick Chubb because I was in win now mode and I was desperate for another hero running back, and that was the season when Chubb had that freak knee injury that basically mirrored what happened to him when he was a senior. I think he was a senior at Georgia, the exact same knee injury, and it's ruined his career ever since. So it just completely ruined me. And I was feeling good about giving away Jameson Williams because I was never expecting him to be a consistent fantasy contributor. And he quietly finished last season as the wide receiver 12 in PPR leagues. So you're the Lions fan, Jeff. I got to ask you, are we looking at a breakout season for Jameson Williams in fantasy football leagues?
Well, I don't know. I think what you've seen is what you're going to get with Jameson Williams. You have two speed guys left on the team now that they got rid of Khalil Freeman. I will always say they criminally underused Khalil Freeman, especially when you looked at some of the statistics on Fantasy Points data suite. But with Goff at the helm, it was going to be very difficult for Khalil Freeman to ever see the I'm up. I don't like any of these. Should I go old? Let's go old. What the hell?
Does Derrick Henry ever go bad with age?
You keep expecting it to happen, and then it doesn't. All right. Let's see. I love the fact that like 6 of the top wide receivers, at least on the sleeper list, are old men. I like this guy. He's not going to do anything, but I'm going to take him anyway because I take him every year, and then he proves me wrong, injury or whatever else, but I'll do it.
I feel like a lot of people are disrespecting Scary Terry McLaurin despite some injuries that are getting in the way and the poor quarterback play that happened in the second Cliff Kingsbury season that we've seen. So, Scary Terry McLaurin, I'm assuming that the Washington Commanders are going to be looking to draft another wide receiver to replace Deebo Samuel now that he left in free agency. But Scary Terry right now is 30 years old. He just finished 7 seasons. He was only able to play in 10 games last year with injuries, but he still got 60 targets among those 10 games, which you love to see it. That's averaging 6 targets a game. But this is still Scary Terry as a number 1 wide receiver with Jaden Daniels back to full health as well. Do you see this any different?
Well, especially if Ertz isn't going to really, he's gone now. He's not on Washington. Is that correct?
Yes, he's gone.
Still there. Yeah, he's gone. So with him, if you take a look at Terry McLaurin's stats 2 years ago and the number of red zone targets he had and the target, it was phenomenal. And other than Ertz, he was the one that was being targeted every single time in the red zone. Like you said, then last year he got injured. That kind of dampered everything. I kind of had him higher ranked. Some people gave me grief last year when I had him as high ranked as I did. But I think that, in that offense and given who they have, I think Terry McLaurin, if he stays healthy, can succeed and can still put up numbers even at age 30.
Yeah, you never want to sleep on the older wide receivers as well who can still contribute, which is why I'm a little triggered over the fact that BroCal44 sniped Mike Evans for me after I drafted Brock Purdy because I was really hoping for that stack. But honestly, like getting Mike Evans as a depth wide receiver this low in the 9th round of an 8-team league, that's a steal right there as well. There goes Fernando Mendoza. That's like the perfect third quarterback you definitely want. But let's see here. Who do I want to get? I could use another running back. Let's go Javonte Williams here, being that he's had quite the resurgence in Dallas. But honestly, though, Jeff, I don't see Javonte Williams being the guy for that much. Like, it wouldn't surprise to me if the Cowboys decide to grab another running back in a late round to see if he gets competition. At least to take some of the carries away from him. But he's got to come down from RB12 in PPR leagues this year, right?
I would think so, especially, was it and you're going to have to help me here, was it their left guard they lost?
I think they lost a couple of offensive linemen, if I'm not mistaken.
And because of those losses, it's going to be very tough for him to replicate what he did last year. I still like him. I always liked him. I liked him in Denver. Injuries and opportunities didn't present themselves there. I think, he will still do well. And in the 11th round, I think that's a solid pick. I just wouldn't count on him being your RB1 or your RB2, and which you're not. So.
Yeah, absolutely not. We're starting to see the third quarterbacks going off the board as well. Still a few starters left over. Some of the older guys are still left, and then you've got Malik Willis, who signed a 3-year contract with the Miami Dolphins. And for whatever reason, the Dolphins want to roll with Malik Willis as if he's their guy. I'm not going to be taking him. I'd rather take Sam Darnold, being that I don't think Jalen Milroe is going to rise up and steal his job. But Malik Willis has not been drafted at this point, Jeff. I wanted to ask you, what the hell were the Dolphins thinking putting him on a 3-year contract like that?
I never know what the Dolphins are thinking. I think they held on to Mike McDonald 1 year too long. I think, I can't speak for, for Dolphins ownership and management, but I don't. I got to pick somebody here, don't I? Let's do. All right. Let's just. Nope. Well, did I do that or did? No, it was auto.
It was an auto pick. But hey, man, Cortland Sutton is still not a bad pick.
Well, that was actually who I had hovered over when they picked it. So great.
Perfect.
That off. Talking and drafting on a short clock presents issues, but I can rise to the challenge, I believe. All right, this one.
Perhaps I could have gotten away with 60-second clocks tonight, but I just left it on 30 just in case anybody leaves it. But yeah, you grab DeAndre Swift. I don't know if that hurts, being that he's a Chicago Bear and you're a Lions fan, but so DeAndre Swift unfortunately didn't pan out when the Lions drafted him. He's been finding some success in a 1-2 punch with Kyle Monangai. How much longer do you think DeAndre Swift will have a relevant career with my Bears?
I still think he has another season or two in him. When he was with the Lions, there was a lot of criticism for to use one word, soft. He was diving out of bounds, wasn't completing plays, wasn't taking the hits. He went to Philly and he did change some of that. He was starting to lower his shoulders. He was, squaring them up. He was making the contact and gaining those extra yards. I think he's in a perfect spot in Chicago because of the offense, with the running quarterback and just the weapons that are there. It opens things up for him. And I just think it was the perfect place for him, even more so than Philly. Detroit wasn't the right spot, especially early on when the Lions were, being Lion-esque. And so I think Swift's in the best spot he can be in. How long he lasts, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that part as well. With DeAndre Swift, I feel like still has that same reputation he had in Detroit, where he was avoiding contact and going out of bounds when he should probably be lowering his shoulder. We watched him on a few plays in Chicago in some games where he's just bowling over guys, and he's not that big of a guy. And it was just blowing my mind every time because I'm like, oh my goodness, where did that come from? But he was getting it done.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is too, is technique. And I'm not saying the Lions failed to provide that technique when he needed it. But I mean, it's one of those things. Okay, this guy should see a lot more targets. So I think
I like that.
Yeah. Who else are they gonna? I mean, it's now that Likely is gone. I mean, I just think Andrew's targets are gonna skyrocket again. We'll see. I mean, again, talk about another old guy on the field, but I don't know. I mean, how old is Andrews?
He's pushing 30, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he is 30, actually.
Yep. So age doesn't seem to impact tight ends the same way it does running backs and wide receivers, but which is odd considering the fact that the blocking tight ends are so physical. But I mean, they seem to hang around. And okay, I guess I'll take Rico Dowdle.
I'll get back to you about Rico Dowdle in a bit, but actually Jamie Perrogue just took Kenyon Siddiq, right? Yeah, Kenyon Siddiq at the 15-3. I was in a mock draft last night on Going for Two, and Kenyon Siddiq was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. If Siddiq ends up going to the Ravens to replace Likely, does that change your mind about what you said about Andrews?
Yes. I think that would put Andrews back in a position where he's going to, he's going to be platooning. But as a rookie, as we know, it's been weird the last few years how we've had rookie tight ends who have been successful. As we know, that wasn't always the case with tight ends. Sometimes they always, what was it? The 3rd year emergence, they used to call it for tight ends, because the position was so difficult to learn. It'll be interesting to see how Baltimore, if they draft him, would use him. I do think that would have an impact on Andrews, but I still like my pick there because at least for this year. Next year, I might have to move him or drop him, but we'll see how that goes.
So you also auto-drafted Rico Dowdle unintentionally. He will be paired up now with Jaylen Warren. As you're making your next pick here, I'll leave this question out there for you as well. Who is going to be leading this backfield now in Pittsburgh? Is it going to be Dowdle on the early downs, or is it going to be Jaylen Warren at this point? Or is it possibly a dynamic 1-2 punch where it just depends on who has a hot hand?
I think it's going to be, what you saw with Dowdle in Carolina, I don't think you're going to see, another 200-yard game out of Dowdle. I think especially because Pittsburgh's going to platoon. Pittsburgh runs, and that's, Arthur Smith is, no matter what Arthur Smith's still there? Or is he gone now with
Oh, no, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. Okay, so
Arthur Smith is now going to go ruin Ohio State.
My apologies to everyone who's listening or watching out there. I have been so far behind this year on everything, especially it's because I can't drink beer. So it's no fun to do any research when you can't drink. I'm going to blame it on that. I don't think you're not going to see Dowdle, the same numbers you saw out of him in Carolina.
Yeah, so Dowdle is now going to be in the Mike McCarthy offense, as Classic Mike just brought up. Thank you, good sir. So in a Mike McCarthy offense, what does that look like for the rest of the Steelers offense between Michael Pittman Jr., DK Metcalf, how many other tight ends they've gotten in Pat Freiermuth, and then the running back? So is this going to be a functional offense in Pittsburgh, whether or not Rodgers comes back?
Well, again, quarterback play is going to be very critical. I think you'll see, you will see more passing plays. I still think they're going to rely on the running game. It's just because somehow, some way, that's what Pittsburgh does, and always has really. But other than a couple, the Hines Ward's era and the Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace era there for a little bit, but I would definitely have a greater interest in Pittsburgh wide receivers. I just haven't. I don't even want to say it out loud, but did Pittman go?
Pittman got traded to the Steelers from the Colts.
No. Did Pittman go in here?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he was drafted in the. Oh crap! Why can't I find him? I should know this.
Right there. It's 16-8.
That's right. Yeah. So it was. So I'm up here. Let me. Yeah, it was Doc Watson who grabbed him, which is a great value, by the way, behind Parker Washington. Let me just grab George Kittle for the hell of it. So, so that's going to be an interesting offense to keep an eye on, being that it was reported today that Aaron Rodgers still hasn't given any verbal commitment to the Pittsburgh Steelers on whether or not he wants to come back. If it ends up being Will Howard, is he going to be NFL ready?
No.
Or are they going to have to go after Phillip Rivers too?
No. They'd be better off playing anyone else. I mean, that experiment, it was great headlines, great feel. He delayed his retirement even longer, or his his Hall of Fame or whatever. But hold on a second, sorry, I'm rambling as I'm trying to figure out who the hell I want here.
You're good, brother.
I don't like that pick, but oh well.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are starting to have doubts about David Montgomery due to age and mileage, as if this is going to be a 50-50 split with him and Woody Marks. But Honestly, Jeff, I'm not so sure of that. David Montgomery seemed okay as Jahmyr Gibbs' backup. I don't see him backing up Woody Marks, but Woody Marks at least still has some PPR value, does he not?
Oh, Marks definitely. I mean, Montgomery, what was interesting about Montgomery is his stats were so
Crap.
diminished over the 2 or 3 years previous, including his usage in the passing game. I was really shocked that the Lions did not utilize him like they had the year before or 2 seasons prior. I still think he has the ability to perform. I know some people pointed to his yards per attempt, and a couple of the other stats, and I just think that it was hard to really gauge what he could do because they were so focused on Gibbs. And Campbell even came out and said in the preseason they were going to lean more on Gibbs than they had in the past. So I think it's one of the reasons why Montgomery was uncomfortable. I think that's one of the reasons why he wanted to kind of move on, was because of the fact that he knew the focus was purely Gibbs. The Sonic and Knuckles 1-2 punch wasn't quite the emphasis in 2025 as it was the year prior. I would have no problem taking Montgomery in later rounds and hoping that he will come through. But I have seen that he has gone really late. So it's definitely something that people are shying away from. They're definitely fading him.
Jeff, you ready to see my disgusting last round pick here?
Oh, we are in the last round. Sky Moore. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to do a value pick just in case the Cleveland Browns just end up not drafting a wide receiver in this draft, which could be entirely possible. I mentioned the going for 2 live mock draft that I was involved with last night, and I think they had 2 picks in the first round if I'm not mistaken, but one of our guys ended up predicting that they are going to go with Ty Simpson with the 24th overall pick, which would be such a Browns pick if they end up doing that, where it's like, what's a wide receiver? We don't know what that is. Let's draft more quarterbacks. But, at the end of the day, it's the Cleveland Browns, and we're just hoping that they do the stupidest possible thing, but... Jerry Jeudy, why not? He sucked anyway in last season, but maybe he bounces back. Maybe it's Isaiah Bond, right?
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Bond, there was a lot of high hopes for him. I know a couple years back, even in the beginning of 2024, 25, excuse me, there was some hope that he was going to make that surge. He didn't do it. But again, a lot of it was from just poor quarterback play for the Browns. And so if they can it's kind of hard for receivers to produce when the quarterback can't get them the ball or they're not performing well. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Sanders obviously it's way too early for them to have called. I'm assuming Sanders is still in the 1 position. I mean, who else do they have? I mean,
Deshaun Watson.
Okay. So yeah, I don't like your Jerry Jeudy pick then. It's if Sanders had some flashes, but he also had some, negative performance. And so again, early first year, I don't necessarily look at something like that and want to gauge them. I know a lot of people who are a lot smarter than I am. They see through all that right away and they have their ideas. But for me, I'll give Sanders the benefit of the doubt. Not enough to draft him, but enough to maybe take a shot on Jeudy, especially in the 20th round. Like you said, it's he's disposable. If he immediately comes out of the gate and is bad, you just drop him and you move on.
So Jamie Peroga in the comments says, roast my team, please. So I think we're going to do that here, Jeff. So maybe even if it's not necessarily roasting his team. So he went Drake May first and then went 2 running backs, grabbed his second quarterback, grabbed some wide receiver 2s to balance things out. I'm expecting Rome Odunze to step up with DJ Moore now with the Buffalo Bills. But overall, Jeff, give me what you think about his team from top to bottom here. What do you like? What don't you like?
Well, May and Jackson, you can't go wrong with that. Christian McCaffrey, I did see his comment where he drafted that thinking this was a redraft. So yeah, that hurts a little bit. But hey, then he turns around and he stays healthy and puts up huge numbers. So who knows? He may work out for you, especially for in the first year, and then you can pivot and do something well in next year's draft if this were an actual league. Higgins and Smith, again, those are two guys who just kind of fly under the radar. They're two who put up stats. They're not going to put the stats that the number ones in there on their respective teams are going to do well. So I mean, it's one of those things where if you're looking at them to be your number 1 and 2 wide receivers, they might fall slightly short, but I actually like them. And so, given the fact that you just took May and Jackson, and you also have, if Genty can actually do something this year, he's been obviously a short-term disappointment, but I expect him to begin performing. And McCaffrey may do very well. Looking at the rest of it, Adunze, you were talking about Adunze. Interestingly enough, and you're a Chicago guy, so you're going to give me your feedback.
As soon as you unfreeze, that is. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back shortly.
Oh, sorry about. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think it's because I got it on 1080. I don't know why I'd want it on 1080. Nobody wants to see me in high def. But I don't know what you missed, but I was saying. Then I saw Dunze. I said, and it's interesting why people aren't showing him love because I actually like Luther Burden, but then I saw that Luther Burden actually went 2 rounds earlier. So to you. So. What do you think about Well, we're still talking about this roster. I think it's a pretty strong roster. I got to go and sorry, Jamie, but I got to go look at Bro Cal 44. That roster, I don't want to play him.
If I'm not mistaken, Brocal 44 is also Junior Brown. Junior Brown, please correct me in the comments if that's incorrect, but we're going to go over to Brocal 44 as well. So starting off with 3 wide receivers, which I really, really like that strategy, and then grabbing the Brock Bowers tight end pick, which I expect him to bounce back greatly this year. Caleb, Bo Nix, and then getting Kyron Williams as the first running back, and not so much going 0 RB, but just punting at running back a bit to go strong at wide receiver, being that this is a 3 wide receiver league. Give me what you think about this roster, Jeff. Do you like it better than Jamie's? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
Well, and I may have been spinning out of control when I said this, but I don't want to play this team. I don't want to play Bro Cal 44 whatsoever. That roster scares me. And I haven't looked at the other ones to compare it, and again, it is an 8-team league, but I mean, that's pretty strong. I know RB is a little bit on the weaker side, but Kyron Williams, I mean, I don't know why everybody, I mean, he has really taken a dip, and I still think he's going to provide numbers. He's not that old. I think he's going to do very well. I like Bo Nix. I'm a Bo Nix fan. I have him on probably 25, if not 30 of my dynasty leagues. And it's, I'm going to live and die by him. He's not as bad as me living and dying by Sky Moore, but that's another story. One of the worst mistakes I ever made in my life, listening to someone else talk about Sky Moore with such adoration that it made me draft him everywhere. Yeah. So, but anyway, going back to Bo Nix. Yeah, I like that pick. Adams, got another year in the tank. So that's great. Evans. How do you go wrong with him just putting up the numbers he does all the time? Pierce, with Pittman gone now, I mean, is it Pierce time? And then getting Pitts in the 12th round. I know, everybody still looks like at Pitts as a bust, but I mean, he started to produce last year, and I think that he could really take a step forward. Although you have either, who are the 2 quarterbacks? You have Penix and Tua. So I don't know how that'll work out, but I like the Pitts pick at 12. So I like that roster. I think like I said, that roster scares me. I don't want to play him.
You like it, but it scares you and you don't want to play it.
What's that?
I said you like it, you like the roster, but it also scares you and you don't want to play it.
Well, yeah, because it's not my roster. If that were my roster, I mean, it'd be great, but I don't want to play that team. And in 8 team, you're probably playing everybody twice. So top.
So Jamie also says we forgot to glorify his 3 top 8 tight ends. That remains to be seen, Jamie, good sir. We got to see where Kenyon Sadiq lands first, and if he lands on the Baltimore Ravens, that's definitely not happening in his rookie season.
No, and I like Loveland and I like Gadsden. I have shares of them across my boards. I am not as in love with Loveland as others. Again, Evan, with you being a Chicago fan, you may have comments on that, but I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with those tight ends at all. And I mean, if this were a tight end premium, that'd be really scary. But again, even in a PPR, those two in Gadsden and Loveland are going to put up the reception, so you're going to get points out of them. So I like those picks. And getting Gadsden in the 12th round, that's a nice pick.
So the Chicago Bears offense is their skill players are going to be catching the most passes who are not running backs are Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, and Romo Dunze. So Romo Dunze we're expecting to be the top wide receiver in Chicago ahead of Luther Burden, where Luther Burden I feel is better at stretching the field compared to Odunze, where I think DJ Moore was more or less there to help Odunze with his route running for like the shorter like curl routes and catching it on like maybe 10 to 12 yard passing plays, which DJ Moore pretty much excelled at, especially against the Packers. But so Jeff, speaking of Colston Loveland, what has you hesitant to put him higher compared to how other people have been treating Loveland as a top 3 guy?
I think one, it's because of the emergence that you're going to see. You're going to see Odunze and Burden take a leap forward. I think in some ways DJ Moore's presence kind of kept them a little bit muted, their performance a little bit muted. So I think you're going to see those two really stretch out. I think in a Ben Johnson offense, while he does utilize the tight end, you do have 2 tight ends that you saw Kmet, right? Or did I lose? Or did I miss that one too?
Kmet wasn't treated as the top tight end anymore, but boy, does he come through when we need him.
Yeah, he had a lot of solid. For someone watching Red Zone all the time when I'm not at the Lions games, he had a lot of highlights. So it's not that I think Loveland's bad, and it's not that I don't think he's a top tight end 1. I just there's a couple other tight ends that I still think might, perform better than Loveland. One of them could be Kraft. One of them could be Fannin. Maybe even Gadsden. But Laporta, as a Lions fan, I'm just I don't know what the Lions are doing there with him. But again, I love Loveland, and I think he's a top. He's a tight end 1. I just don't love him I don't have the shits because a lot of rankings, he's ranked 3.
He's been taken at tight end 3 in a lot of mock drafts, especially the ones we've been having here so far this spring.
Yeah. So that's where I don't know. I take him as tight end 3. When I saw that Bowers and McBride went off, that's kind of why I decided, hey, I'll wait. I thought we'd see a couple more tight ends go, but again, with a PPR and no tight end premium, I mean, that made sense. Do I like Loveland more than Warren? If we knew who was throwing to Warren and Warren was going to would have solid quarterback play, then I would take Warren over Loveland. But right now here, I don't know that I like Warren more than Loveland. Yet I took Warren over Loveland, so I don't know what that says.
Well, it says that you think that Tyler Warren is going to be the top target in Indianapolis, being that we don't know who the top wide receiver for the Colts is going to be, whether that's Alec Pierce or Josh Downs. But either way, this is looking like the Tyler Warren show, whether or not it's Danny Dimes throwing him the football or for some reason it's Anthony Richardson, which, I don't think we're going to be seeing him throw the ball anymore for the Colts. But I'd say that's some pretty good confidence in Tyler Warren being the guy for the Colts passing game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Warren is going to get a lot of that with Pittman gone. And the other thing too is going back to.
As you're going back to freezing, we'll have you back in a few seconds. Sorry about this, ladies and gents. It's technical difficulties come with this, but we're a professional show.
My apologies. I already know why that's happening. It's because I got it on 1080, so my apologies. But what I was saying, as far as Warren and Loveland, or the tiers, I don't know how any of the rankings out there have them tiered. But if you're actually talking about tiering the tight end position, I think you have, the tier one are two players. It's McBride and Bowers. Then you have players that are in that tier two, and I've got probably 5 or 6 what I would say are tier two players. That others may disagree with that. I don't know what the rankings out there show, but that's kind of where I would put it. So once Bowers and McBride are off the board, then I don't know that you can go wrong with any of those 4 or 5 that we talked about. But yes, I agree that Warren is going to have opportunities, even though we don't know who the quarterback will be.
So you also mentioned Tucker Kraft earlier, who unfortunately had to leave last season due to an ACL tear. I believe it was it was after week 9. It was during that Carolina Panthers game. He finished as tight end 10 in the year prior, but he was on pace to have an equally as good or better season, and he was taken as the 5th tight end off the board by Duarte 5656. So if he's your tight end 1 at this stage in a dynasty startup such as this, you've got to be happy with that, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I don't know. Is he anticipated to return for the beginning of the season, or does that ACL have him out sometime until like October-ish?
Being that it happened in week 9, I believe he is on pace to be back for week 1, but
okay.
It's one of those things we don't quite know yet. I'll have to look that up, but I don't expect him to be out the way Patrick Mahomes is going to be out for a little bit too.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if he does miss a first, couple of games during the season, if that, worst case scenario, I mean, I think that's an incredible pick. Even if you were deep into the season, again, this is a dynasty draft. So picking him up and stashing him away for future use is great. And you got, Duarte got 2 solid, other 2 solid tight ends that are going to be serviceable in Jake Ferguson and Jawan Johnson. So I think, he's covered himself there if Kraft isn't available. And if Kraft is, then he's pretty strong there in the tight end position.
So I brought up Patrick Mahomes earlier as well. Trying to remember. Oh, yeah, it was Doc Watson who ended up taking Patrick Mahomes as his top quarterback. Doc Watson ended up taking 6 quarterbacks in this draft, which I don't know how you're going to make use of all of those guys. But in a dynasty format, if you want to take shots on Danny Dimes and Malik Willis and maybe plan on selling high on those guys, it's a bold strategy and a startup. But the reason I'm bringing up Patrick Mahomes is that he's believed to not be quite ready for week 1 yet. There's a strong chance he won't be ready. And the new backup quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs is Justin Fields. The offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, returning to them, is Eric Bieniemy. It's no longer Matt Nagy. So being that Justin Fields finally has an adult as offensive coordinator, this has got to be a great buy low and sell high opportunity for Justin Fields, assuming that you're in a league with somebody who doesn't know any better. But he should provide high-end QB2 value if you are desperate at quarterback early in the season, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to provide enough for you to muddle through the beginning of the season so that you're not just totally annihilated. I think you're going to be able to get something out of him that you probably haven't seen from either the Jets and the Bears. I'm missing. Yeah, it's those 2. And I think so I think that's a decent pick. And like you said, buy low, sell high. You might be able to get somebody who's going to need him during the season. Now with an 8-team league, once again, even though you had a lot of quarterbacks go off the board, there's still a couple of them I know that have to be out there, especially backups to these starters that will be available in the event that you have somebody go down. That's one of the reasons why I didn't take a 4th quarterback. Typically in a 2 QB league, I'm going to pick up a 4th if it is a 12-team, 14-team league. Just so that I have that person. So I'm usually picking somebody, either my handcuff or a second stringer from a team where I expect the starter to go down. Here, having 6 quarterbacks, like you said, I don't know what you're going to do with all of them unless you're hoping to use them for trade bait as the season goes along. But I think if you have anyone else has Justin, did Justin Fields go?
He did not.
Did not. Okay. So, I mean, he's on the waiver wire. So if you have a spot you want to fill, or you only drafted 2 or 3 quarterbacks and you really would like a third, well, then he may be an opportunity for you, or it's a wait and see. And but like you said, if you can buy him low and sell him high right now and stash him on your roster, that this may be the opportunity to drop one of those players you don't like so well and stash him for a future move. I think it's a great idea.
For sure. So, ladies, gents, and all those in between or outside of it, if you're still with us, hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube, and hit that heart button on Twitter if you're watching there as well. We greatly appreciate it wherever you're watching. It helps us out a lot in the algorithm to get the show seen. So, Jeff, as we're starting to close out the show, I'm going to ask you one more big question here, which I try to ask for all the guests, time permitting. Who do you feel had the best draft out of all 8 of us in this Dynasty Startup? And you can even nominate yourself if you wish.
I mean, I didn't go through each and every roster, but I'm just going to go right back to Brocal. I like that. I like that roster. I think with the starting wide receivers and the ability to be able to move them in a PPR, I think Chase Lamb and Neighbors, those alone are going to put up big PPR numbers. So I just looking at the other wide receivers, I mean, I think Duarte's pretty solid there with St. Brown, Collins, and Olave. You got Taylor and ETN with David Montgomery, Kraft and Ferguson. So I kind of like that one. I don't mind mine. I think mine's fine. We take a look at yours, Evan, and it's, you got Wilson and Burden and London, Barkley and Gibbs. Barkley was slightly disappointing for a chunk of the season last year, but then he came on strong late after it was already too late for me and Scott Fishbowl. And then I actually like Ramondre Stevenson. I know everybody's sleeping on him because of TreVeyon Henderson, but you've got them both. So sort of a handcuff platoon there for you. And I made
sure to cover my bases.
Yeah, you did. So, I'm just going to go Brocal. I said it right away and I'm sticking with it. I like his roster, and I do like the running back, the 2 running backs for Doc and Robinson and Walker, but yeah, I got to go Brocal.
It's a roster that scares you. You wouldn't necessarily want to play it, but you've come around. You like it. This is probably the best one you'd want to roll with to get things started.
Oh, if I had his roster, I'd be happy. Like I said, I don't mind my roster, but it's not Brocal's. That's all I can say. I went to that roster immediately and said, yeah. And being scared of a roster is respect. That's pure respect. It's like that's a scary roster. And I think it would do well in this league.
Yeah, I think it would be sneaky good from like a Dynasty Startup value as well, with like 3 solid wide receivers in a 3 wide receiver league is definitely going to carry him to the promised land. And Brocal 44 might, if this was a real league, would be probably 1 or 2 trades away, maybe for an upgrade at running back, or just a solid waiver wire pickup mid-season to take him to the promised land to be the first champion. But this is just a mock draft. This isn't necessarily going to be turning into a league, but born to be hated. Unfortunately, you missed your chance to get a spot for this mock draft, but this is a good opportunity to tell everybody, please join the Discord server in our description of this video. If you're watching on Twitter, I believe there's also a link for our Discord server on our Twitter profile as well. Join us so that you can be among the first to check out Monday night mock drafts as well. We also do Friday night mocks, where you can also join us later in the week to jump in for another mock draft. We have no shortages of mock drafts here at Get Right Fantasy, so you won't miss out on much throughout the spring, throughout the summer, and even leading up to September. We'll have plenty for you. And speaking of having plenty for you, we do want to get into a sponsor for the show that's helped support us, and that's Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. We enjoy their best ball draft tournaments and live stream them all off season. In best ball leagues, all you have to do is draft your team, and that's it. No need to do anything else with your teams all season long. No waivers, no trades, and no weekly lineup setting. You can even draft hundreds of teams if you'd like, and you never have to manage them. Best ball is a great way to learn player values and ADP for your regular fantasy football drafts. Also, give their Pick'em contest a try, where all you have to do is pick higher or lower on player stats, such as total yards and touchdowns. Sign up with our promo code GETRIGHT and receive a 50% deposit match of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Any deposit exceeding $2,000 will be capped at $1,000 in bonus cash. Download the fastest growing fantasy app from your app store now, make that first deposit, and play today. Be sure to visit UnderdogFantasy.com to check your state's eligibility. Please play responsibly. You must be age appropriate and present in your state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In the state of New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. Jeff, this has been a great mock draft with you. I'm so glad you got to join me for a unique 8-team Dynasty Startup mock. We want, like I said at the beginning of the show, we want to give love to the smaller leagues, so wanted to thank you, man. It's been great to see you again.
Well, no, it's been excellent. I appreciate you having me. My apologies for the technical difficulties we were experiencing, and
you're good, man.
Sorry for all those I didn't give the kind of being behind on some of the off-season activity. I definitely need a crash course in the next couple of weeks with drafts coming up, but I appreciate you inviting me on to the show.
You don't have to know everything, my friend, but what you've given us for about like the Detroit Lions and for other teams based on what you've seen has been highly valuable. We've loved having you as a guest, man. Ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between or outside of it, this has been another Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan. One more last time, I'd like to thank my guest, Jeff Crisp, for joining me this evening. Follow Jeff on Twitter at FFCommishYIS and Blue Sky at FFCommishYIS.bsky.social. Jeff, as you're in between fantasy companies right now and other independent content, is there anything else that people should check out from you right now?
Well, I think right now I'm so focused on Scott Fishbowl that I haven't really focused on putting any content out there. I do know that I'm looking at a couple different options to get back into the podcasting sphere and streaming sphere. Right now, though, I'm with Scott Fishbowl. We just had the first wave that went out last week, and the second wave should be coming out shortly. Don't have a date for you. But if you are interested in Scott Fishbowl, please go to scottfishbowl.com. Or you can go, and if you're in the Michigan area, you can go to fantasycares.org/Michigan and sign up for the Michigan Live. The Michigan Live will be July 11, 2026 at the Rochester Mills Beer Company in Rochester, Michigan. I am the live coordinator for Scott Fishbowl Michigan Live. So join us if you can. But if you can't make Michigan, there are 38 opportunities in the United States, and I think 10 internationally. So there is a live draft near you for Scott Fishbowl. Now's the time to do it. Get on there again, scottfishbowl.com, and sign up, and maybe an invite will be coming your way.
And if you guys make it to the Rochester, Michigan live draft, go have a beer with Jeff. I mean, I already forgot the name of the brewery you guys are doing this at, but if you also miss out on Jeff in Michigan, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, you're also coming to the Chicago live draft, right?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I will be. John Bosch and I, John from Fantasy Cares, he and I are going to be showing up at the, he's going to be at the Michigan Live Draft, and then we will be in Chicago that Sunday, the very next day, to just hang out and talk football and fantasy and drink more beer. Evan, I haven't met you in person yet, so I'm looking forward to that. A couple other people that I haven't met in person yet that I'm looking forward to sitting around and talking football. So I'm really excited. Never been to the Chicago Live. So, it's going to be a great time on July 12th.
We had an amazing last year at Maggiano's off of Grand Avenue in Chicago. This time it's going to be at Moretti's in Bartlett, Illinois, which is a western suburb of the city. Easily accessible by the Metro trains if you happen to be listening from the Chicagoland area. But it's an easy enough drive to get to as well with, more affordable parking compared to being in the city of Chicago. But it's going to be a great time. The rooms look great over there, and there's an outdoor deck, which is gorgeous. I think we've got the whole thing. I'm going to have Steven Johnson confirm confirmed that part, but it's going to be great. I hope you love it too, Jeff, as I know you can probably hear me as you froze up again, but that's okay. But I can't wait to meet you too, Jeff. It's going to be great.
If I start freezing up and I have a circle in my face as I'm standing in front of you, then just shove me over. I don't know what to say about that, but
well, with that being said, folks, yeah,
it's going to be great to see you.
Oh, for sure. Likewise, brother. Folks, we're going to wrap up this show for tonight. Be sure to tune in next week for a 12-team, 1-quarterback PPR 4-round rookie draft. After this will be just a few days after the NFL draft is over. Joining me for that one next week is going to be yet another Jeff, but he's a writer for Football Absurdity, Jeff Crisco. Don't forget to subscribe to Get Right Fantasy, and be sure to tune in this coming Friday night for another episode of Friday Night Mocks with Kendall and Classic Mike. Folks, have a great night. I will see you all next week. Take care.
You're tuned in to Get Right Fantasy.